Hello, boys and girls. My name is Mr. Rogers, and I am one of the teachers here at Amherst Elementary School. Today, I'd like to read to you a great book entitled Great African Americans, Mary McLeod Bethune, a Great Teacher. This book was written by Patricia and Frederick McKissick. Chapter 1. It was the summer of 1875. Patsy and Sam McLeod's 15th child was born. Her name was Mary Jane McLeod. It was a happy time for the family. Patsy and Sam had been slaves. Mary Jane was their first child born free. That made Mary Jane McLeod special. Mary Jane grew up in a large and loving family in Maysville, South Carolina. She rode Old Bush, the family mule, to the fields. She picked cotton along with her brothers and sisters on the father's farm. One day, Mary Jane went with her mother to the large house. Her mother washed and ironed for the people who lived there. Mary Jane had never been in such a big house. A young girl who lived there showed Mary Jane around. There was a book on the table. Mary Jane opened it. Suddenly, the girl took it away, saying, "Put that book down. You can't read it anyway." Mary Jane was surprised and hurt. True, she couldn't read, but why did picking up this book make the other girl so angry? The McLeods had a Bible. Nobody could read it, but that night, Mary Jane held the book in her hands. "I will read," she said. "God willing, I will read." Chapter 2. One day, Miss Emma Willis came to Maysville. She told Sam and Patsy about the school she was starting. Would they send Mary Jane to school? Sam didn't think so. He needed everybody to help in the fields. Mary Jane prayed softly. Patsy spoke to Sam alone. At last, Sam gave in. Mary Jane could go to school. Mary Jane's brothers and sisters were disappointed. Why couldn't she read after the first day of school? Well, it took time. But before long, Mary Jane did learn how to read and write. On one special night, she read the Bible to her mother and father. They were so proud of her. Mrs. Wilson's school went to the 6th grade. A kind woman paid for Mary to go to Scotia Seminary in Concord, North Carolina. In 1887, Mary went away to school. She was just 12 years old. It was so lonely at first. She missed her family very much. 7 years later, Mary finished Scotia. Then she went to Moody Bible College in Chicago. Mary Jane McLeod was ready to start her life's work. But what would it be? She wondered. Chapter 3. A Dream and $1.50. Mary wanted to teach in Africa. Instead, she took a teaching job in Georgia. Good teachers were needed there. Mary met Albertus Bethune. He was a teacher too. He made her laugh. They were happy together. In 1898, Mary and Albertus married. A year later, their son was born. His name was Albert McLeod Bethune. Everyone called him Bert. Miss Bethune heard there was no school for black children in Daytona Beach, Florida. Miss Bethune went there. "I want to start a school for Negro girls," she said. All she had was $1.50. Some people laughed, others helped. Miss Bethune would not give up her dream. First, she rented a small house. She found writing paper in the trash. She used boxes for desks and coal for pencils. It was a poor beginning. But on October 3rd, 1904, Miss Bethune opened her school. She had 5 students. By 1905, the school had 100 students and 3 teachers. Next, she brought land that had been the city dump. This is where she would build her school. Some people laughed, but others helped. Rich, important people gave money to help build her school and a hospital, too. The first building for the school was finished in 1906. It was called Faith Hall because Faith had built it. Chapter 4 is called The Black Rose. In 1923, Miss Bethune's school joined with Cookman, an all-boys school. Bethune-Cookman became a grade school, high school, and college. Boys and girls went to school together. Miss Bethune was the school's first president, but to her students, she was always just Mother Dear. Another name for Miss Bethune was the Black Rose. This is how she got her name. Miss Bethune spoke all over the country. One idea she talked about was a big people garden. She said that people are like flowers. They live together in a world just as flowers grow in a garden. Red, yellow, small, tall, all growing together. They are all different, but each one is lovely. Once a child said that Miss Bethune, that blacks couldn't live in the people's garden. There were no black flowers. This made Miss Bethune feel sad. Just because you haven't seen a thing doesn't mean it doesn't exist, she always said. Many years later, she got a wonderful surprise. While in the country of Holland, Miss Bethune was given a bulb of black tulips, the first black flower. In Switzerland, Miss Bethune was shown the black rose. This made her very happy. Just because you have not seen a thing doesn't mean it doesn't exist. She ordered 72 black rose bushes. They were planted at Bethune-Cookman College. She also had black tulips planted at the entrance of her school. Chapter 5, From Cotton Fields to the White House. In 1932, Franklin D. Roosevelt was elected President of the United States. The President asked Miss Bethune to serve in the National Youth Administration, the NYA. This organization helped people ages 16 to 24 find part-time jobs. Miss Bethune was the first African American woman to hold a job that high up in the government. It was an honor. Miss Eleanor Roosevelt was the president's wife. She was a friend of Miss Bethune. At that time, some people didn't think that blacks should be involved in the White House. But the Roosevelts did. Miss Bethune was always welcome at the White House and in the Oval Office, too. Once Miss Bethune went to see the president. "It is good to see you," he said. "I don't know why," Miss Bethune replied. "I'm always asking for something." "Yes," said the president, "but you never ask for yourself." It was true. Miss Bethune worked hard in the NYA. She tried to help young students find work so they could go to school. On April 25th, 1945, Miss Bethune took part in a founding of the United Nations. Countries from all over the world agreed to work together for peace. Miss Bethune lived the rest of her life at Bethune-Cookman College. There she died of a heart attack on May 18, 1955. The school that Mary McLeod Bethune started with $1.50 is still in Daytona Beach. It helps prove that hard work can make dreams come true. Thank you so much for joining me in reading Mary McLeod Bethune, A Great Teacher, and have a wonderful day.